A man walks into a grocery store to buy milk. He pays with a credit card. The card bill gets split into installments. The phone in his pocket is financed. The car outside is leased. His music is a subscription. His software is a subscription. His mattress is financed. His coffee machine came with monthly payments. Even the food delivery app now offers pay in 4. And somewhere in the middle of all that, he stopped noticing. Because the modern economy no longer wants you to own things. It wants you to manage payments. That's the shift. Not from cash to card. Not from stores to apps. From ownership to permanent access. And once you see it, you can't really unsee it. Hi, I'm Maya. If you enjoy videos that unpack the hidden logic behind modern money, technology, and everyday life, like this video and subscribe. Because some of the biggest economic changes happen so slowly, people barely notice them happening at all. For most of human history, buying something was simple. You either had the money or you didn't. That was the friction. A television cost $500. If you wanted it, you saved $500. The pain happened up front, which sounds inconvenient. But psychologically, it created a limit. You felt the cost. Today, the question isn't, can you afford this? It's, can you afford $11.99 a month? That tiny shift changed almost everything. Because human beings are very bad at understanding cumulative payments. $10 feels harmless. $20 feels manageable. $40 feels temporary. But stack enough manageable payments together, and suddenly your future income already has assignments before you even earn it. That's the strange feeling many people have now. They make more money than previous generations did at the same age. And yet somehow, everything feels tighter. Not because they necessarily bought more things, but because they rented their entire lifestyle one monthly payment at a time. And the companies figured this out years ago. In the early 1900s, installment plans already existed. You could finance furniture, farm equipment, even radios. But debt still carried emotional weight. You knew you owed money. Then credit cards arrived. And something subtle happened. Researchers later discovered that people spend significantly more when using cards instead of cash. Not because they become irrational, because cards disconnect the purchase from the pain. Your brain experiences the reward immediately, and the consequence later. Modern subscription models perfected this separation. Now the payment is not only delayed, it becomes invisible. That's why companies love subscriptions so much. A one-time purchase forces a customer to reconsider every decision. A subscription removes the decision entirely. And Wall Street absolutely loves this. Predictable recurring revenue is the closest thing corporations have to financial oxygen. Investors don't just want customers anymore. They want subscribers. Subscribers are calmer, more predictable, more profitable. A person who buys one razor is a customer. A person paying every month for the rest of their life is an asset. That's why the subscription economy exploded everywhere at once. Movies became streaming services. Software became SaaS. Cars became leases. Phones became upgrade programs. Even printers started requiring subscriptions for ink. Which sounds fake until you realize it's real. There are refrigerators now with subscription features. Cars with locked software options. Heated seats requiring monthly payments. Imagine explaining that sentence to someone in 1995. You bought the car? Yes. So the heated seats work? No, I rent them. At some point, ownership started behaving more like a demo version. And businesses have reasons for doing this beyond greed or gimmicks. The economics actually make sense. A company selling one product once has a problem. It constantly needs new customers. But a subscription model transforms unstable revenue into something smoother and safer. And in a world obsessed with quarterly growth, smoothness matters, especially after 2008. That financial crisis changed corporate psychology in ways most people never noticed. Cheap interest rates flooded the economy for years afterward. Money became unusually inexpensive to borrow. And when money is cheap, companies prioritize growth above almost everything else. Subscription models became perfect for this environment. Why? Because future monthly payments could be treated almost like guaranteed income streams, which boosted company valuations massively. Suddenly, businesses weren't just selling products. They were selling predictable future behavior. That's an important distinction. Netflix wasn't valuable because of DVDs. Adobe wasn't valuable because of software. They became valuable because millions of people woke up every month and kept paying automatically. The modern economy quietly shifted from transaction-based to retention-based. And once companies realized recurring payments were more profitable than ownership, there was no going back. But something else happened too. Consumers started preferring it. That's the uncomfortable part. Because subscriptions solve a real emotional problem. Upfront cost. A $1,000 phone feels painful. $30 a month feels acceptable. A car payment feels easier than buying a car outright. Renting furniture feels easier than saving. Buy now, pay later feels easier than waiting. Monthly payments reduce friction. And modern economies are built around reducing friction. One-click purchases, auto-renewals, saved cards, invisible billing. Convenience became the dominant product, sometimes more important than the product itself. And honestly, there are moments where this system genuinely helps people. Streaming is more accessible than buying DVDs. Cloud software is easier for small businesses. Financing can open opportunities people otherwise couldn't access. The problem begins when convenience slowly transforms into dependency. Because subscriptions don't just change spending habits. They change time itself. Think about it. A traditional purchase affects your present money. A monthly payment affects your future money. Every subscription is essentially a tiny claim on your future labor. Future, you will deal with it. Which is fine occasionally. But strange things happen when an entire economy starts operating this way. Because eventually, people stop buying based on total cost. They buy based on monthly survivability. That's why a $70,000 car can suddenly feel affordable. Not because the price decreased. Because the timeline stretched. 7-year car loans became normal. 8-year loans appeared. Some people are financing used cars longer than the cars may realistically last. Not because people became irresponsible overnight. Because monthly payment logic slowly replaced price logic. And companies adapted perfectly. If consumers focus on monthly cost, then businesses optimize around monthly cost, not total value. That's how you end up with products designed less around durability and more around retention. You can see this everywhere. software updates that slow older devices, products harder to repair, membership ecosystems designed to trap convenience inside a single platform. The goal is no longer sell the best product. The goal is keep the customer inside the payment cycle. And once enough industries start thinking this way, the culture itself changes. Ownership starts feeling old-fashioned. People used to collect music. Now they rent access to catalogs. People used to own movies. Now they license temporary viewing rights. Even digital purchases often aren't ownership at all. You're purchasing permission. That's why movies disappear from platforms. Games vanish from libraries. Purchased content gets revoked. You didn't really own it. You accessed it. Quietly. Legally. Systemically. And most people accepted this trade without fully noticing. Because access is incredibly comfortable. Until prices rise. And they always rise eventually. That's another hidden feature of the subscription economy. A one-time purchase locks in cost. A subscription preserves the company's ability to renegotiate forever. Which means inflation feels different now. In older systems, inflation mainly affected new purchases. Today, inflation quietly flows through recurring payments already attached to your life. Streaming prices rise. Insurance rises. Software rises. Storage rises. Membership tiers expand. Individually, each increase feels small. Collectively, they reshape household budgets. And because the increases happen gradually, people adapt emotionally before they react logically. That may be the most sophisticated part of the entire system. Not manipulation. Adaptation. Humans adapt to recurring discomfort astonishingly fast. Especially digital discomfort. A notification appears. Your subscription price is increasing from $9.99 to $12.99. You pause for 3 seconds, maybe sigh, then click accept. Because canceling creates friction. And modern consumers are exhausted. That exhaustion matters. Decision fatigue is now part of the economy. Companies know people won't audit 27 recurring charges every month. So inertia becomes profitable. Gym memberships. Unused apps. Forgotten trials. Streaming services barely watched. The average person now has recurring payments they literally do not remember signing up for. Which sounds absurd until you check your own bank statement carefully. And here's where this gets psychologically interesting. The subscription economy doesn't only monetize products. It monetizes identity. Music platforms monetize your taste. Fitness apps monetize self-improvement. Dating apps monetize loneliness. Productivity apps monetize ambition. Meditation apps monetize calm. The modern consumer is constantly paying to maintain versions of themselves. Not permanently achieve them. Maintain them. That difference matters. Because recurring payments subtly normalize recurring incompleteness. There's always another tier. Another upgrade. Another premium feature. You're never fully done. And this creates a strange emotional atmosphere around money. People feel simultaneously richer and poorer than before. Richer because they can instantly access things previous generations couldn't. Poorer because access disappears the moment payments stop. That creates a low-level background anxiety many people struggle to describe. A feeling that your lifestyle is temporarily assembled rather than securely owned. And maybe that's why economic insecurity feels so emotionally present today, even among relatively stable earners. Because stability used to mean possession. Now stability often means maintaining cash flow. As long as the income continues, the ecosystem stays alive. But interruptions become terrifying. Lose your income for 6 months in a heavily subscription-based life. And suddenly everything starts disconnecting one payment at a time. The car, the software, the storage, the entertainment, the financing. Modern life became incredibly flexible, but flexibility has a hidden twin: fragility. And to be fair, not all of this is negative. Some things genuinely should function as services. Owning massive software suites outright made little sense for many people. Streaming democratized entertainment. Cloud tools enabled small creators and businesses to compete globally. This isn't a story about evil corporations trapping helpless consumers. It's about incentives. Companies optimize for predictable revenue. Consumers optimize for convenience. Investors optimize for growth. And together, those incentives quietly transformed the structure of daily life. No conspiracy required. Just mathematics, psychology, and time. But there's one final layer that makes this shift historically important. For centuries, ownership was tied to permanence. You bought things that anchored your life. Furniture lasted decades. Appliances were repaired. Homes symbolized stability. Collections represented memory. Now many products are designed around continuous replacement instead. Continuous payment. Continuous updating. Continuous consumption. And culturally, that changes how people relate to the future. Because ownership encourages long-term thinking. Subscriptions encourage ongoing maintenance. One builds permanence. The other builds continuity. Those sound similar. They aren't. And maybe that's the real question underneath all this. What happens to a society when fewer people own the systems supporting their lives, and more people simply maintain access to them? Not tomorrow. Not dramatically. Quietly. One monthly payment at a time. Maybe this model keeps expanding. Maybe consumers eventually push back. Maybe ownership itself becomes a luxury category. Or maybe people simply become more intentional. Cancel more. Own selectively. Finance carefully. Pay attention to what quietly renews in the background of their lives. Because the strange thing about the subscription economy is that it works best when nobody looks directly at it. And once you do look directly at it, you start noticing the difference between convenience and control. If you liked or enjoyed the video, subscribe and leave a comment with one thing in your life that quietly became a monthly payment before you even realized it. Because sometimes the biggest economic shifts don't arrive like revolutions. They arrive as autopay.